It is a good idea to trim your layers so that the layer only appears in the timeline when the object associated with that layer appears in the composition window. This is going to make it much easier to work in your timeline, make it much more efficient. So to do this, let's take a look at this timeline. I'm going to select all the layers, press U to reveal the keyframes. Okay, so I'm going to hover over the timeline, press the tilde key, and just look at the timeline. So we can see this have keyframes right at the beginning. So those should appear right there. And then kinetic doesn't start until right here. So I'm going to trim this layer so that the layer doesn't appear in the timeline until kinetic, the word kinetic, actually appears in the composition window. So to trim it, I'm going to hold the Option key on the Mac, Alt on the PC, and press the left square bracket. That trims it. If I were simply to press the square bracket, that has moved the in point. And so that shifted all of my keyframes to the right and moved the in point of the layer to this position. That is not what I wanted. I don't want to move my keyframes. Undo that, Command Z, and instead I'm going to hold the Option key and then do the trim. So that one should appear there. We could trim the null object so it just appears here. This one, this is typography. That doesn't first appear until right here, so I'm going to trim that one. So we can see that these all end over here. So the this is ends right here. Option, right square bracket, so that trims the back end of the layer. And I think that's about all we can do here. So now let's take a look at the composition window and see if that's correct. So we've got this is coming in, and then kinetic. The null object is rotating the type, and then typography comes in, and this is now goes off screen. Okay, I'm going to close up all these layers so we can see this better. So this is a much more efficient way to work. You can see right away when something is going to appear on screen and when it's going to leave the screen.